Hey guys, want to show your support to the channel and get some awesome rewards at the same time? Then go check out my Patreon page where at whatever tier you choose that fits your budget, you'll get plenty of rewards such as updates and announcements on the regular, exclusive sneak peeks of my videos before they go up online, get yourself credited, and receive a special shout out at the end of my videos and more. Go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427's to start pledging today. And don't forget to also check out and consider gifting me any items I have listed on my Amazon wishlist and even supporting me on my Streamlabs tipping page that'll also help support the channel directly. Links are in the description box below as well as on my link tree for you to check out. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Take care. Hey guys, like what we do on our channel and want to see more videos from us? Then not to worry about a thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that way you can see more of our videos coming up very soon. Thank you and enjoy today's video.
Boy, I'm guessing of how I actually got this out. It must be that time again. Yeah, quite a strange way for me to kick off December with these thoughts videos by far with this. But hey, who am I to judge on that? So yeah, anyways, hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and well, I guess a lot of you guys are having a really good start to, of course, the month of December right now, and well, seeing how Christmas is already right around the corner as we speak, I know I've got a lot to do for, of course, this time of year, hands down. So yeah. And surprisingly enough, in regards to it this year alone, we've only got about 4 movies left to go before this year wraps up for sure. So yeah, I think I've got a lot to do, hands down, for sure, before this year ends in its entirety. So I do hope if things go according to plan, I might be able to get all the movies done just so that I can pretty much do my list before right around before New Year's Eve, hands down. So yeah, but we'll keep our hopes up, of course, that front, hands down. I mean, that worked out so well last year, so I do hope we'll do that again for, of course, this year for sure. So yeah. But anyways, I guess pretty much for the first of the final 4 movies that we're going to be looking at for these thoughts videos for, of course, this year, I think he is actually quite fitting by far because, well, I guess for today's thoughts video, I think it's time that we actually return to, of course, the people over at Blumhouse once again. Yeah, I think it's hard to believe that it looks like for this year, Blumhouse has actually had not a very good year in terms of the movies I've actually seen for sure, but hey, I'm sure they've been in slumps before, so I do hope they'll get their footing back again with the amount of movies that we're going to be getting from them for sure. So yeah, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I guess right up until then, I've got a lot to do, especially with, of course, the movie from them that just came out not too long ago that I pretty much had the privilege to go see very recently for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that for sure. So I guess for that topic alone for sure, right? I think in regards to the recent movie from Blumhouse that we actually got for sure, I think it's about time that we make a return to, of course, a nice little pizza place that actually has pretty much this character hands down. And I think you can pretty much get the clear picture based on, of course, what I'm talking about for sure. So yeah, but in case you actually don't know what I'm talking about, I think I'm going to correspond with, of course, today's movie that we're going to be talking about here today, which is none other than Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. And, well, that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about here today. Not only is this the latest film that just came out not too long ago, but it's also the sequel to the smashing film from 2023 that pretty much is based around pretty much the iconic horror video game franchise, which is, of course, Five Nights at Freddy's. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright then, well, I guess pretty much before going into, of course, this movie, I think I might as well give you guys my little recap, of course, what I think of Five Nights at Freddy's in general. Now, to be fair, I think I'm not really much of a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's ever since it first came out, for sure, but I do acknowledge its existence by far, and I can definitely see why many people, and I mean many people, would definitely enjoy the games for sure. And I mean, I wouldn't complain about the games by far. In fact, I know a couple of years ago, I actually did try my hand at playing the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and yeah, despite the fact that I only pretty much I didn't make it past the first night, I definitely do think it is actually a real good concept for a game for sure. So not really something that I could get myself hooked on to hands down, but I can definitely see why a lot of people really like the series for sure. And honestly, quite surprised that it's still going on even after a whole decade for sure. So yeah, and of course, pretty much of anything. Yeah, that's pretty much what I can say for, of course, the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise as a whole on my part. But when it comes to, of course, the movie that we got from 2023 a couple of years ago, yeah, I am fully aware for the fact that pretty much of anything, critics absolutely hated that movie for sure. But I do acknowledge for the fact that fans of the game and even movie-going audiences actually really do enjoy it for sure. While for me personally, hands down, I do think it's okay, of course, on my part, for sure. Yeah, I can't necessarily say it's, by all means, a good movie, for sure, but I don't think it's terrible either, for sure, but I did have a good time with it, hands down, and it actually does come close to actually being a good movie, for sure. Like, it's somewhere hanging that movie that even though it is bad, there is a good movie hanging in there just waiting to come out for sure. So yeah, but then again, I did cover it a couple of years ago in, of course, my thoughts videos for sure. So I recommend looking back, of course, that one to help refresh your mind, of course, what I thought of the first film for sure. So yeah, but like I said, yeah, I don't hate it. I don't think it's actually that great. I definitely do think it is actually a decent flick, in my opinion, for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So given to that thought alone, I'm actually quite curious to see on how they're going to pull off pretty much on what they could with, of course, this sequel that we actually got, and to see if they can step up their A game to what they did in the first film, and not to mention fix some of the issues that the first film actually had for sure, which is actually pretty much warranting, hands down. So yeah. So luckily enough, I did manage to get myself in to officially go and see this movie for myself, all thanks to the kind people at Crown City Cinemas, as always. So yeah. And, well, now that I've officially got back from, of course, seeing it, I guess a lot of you guys may be wondering, what do I think of this movie now that I finally got the chance to see it? Well, that's a pretty hard question to answer because, well, pretty much, if anything, you know how I said that I definitely do think the first film is actually pretty decent, but somewhere in there is actually somewhat of a good movie? Well, I definitely do think this film is actually pretty decent. but it hardly ever comes close, of course, on that front. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. I do think this film is for what it is, for sure. So yeah, I think it's, yeah, once again, kind of decent. Like, it's not that good, but not bad either, but I wouldn't go as far as say that it's by all means a good movie in general, for sure. In fact, if anything, I too felt this movie might have done some things that are much weaker compared to the first film, for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, on that front, for sure. So yeah. Yeah, and I am fully aware that a lot of you guys really like this one, for sure, and good on you if that being the case. But for me personally, yeah, I guess there are some parts of it that I actually really do enjoy, for sure, but the rest I just kind of felt were not really as strong compared to the first film, for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Okay, I guess I'm done with that. Alrighty then, well, now that I've officially got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about all the stuff that I need to talk about, for sure. For starters is, of course, the story, and well, I think from what I can gather, I think in terms of the story from what I can gather, I really do like some of the approaches they're actually going for, hands down. Just pretty much, if anything, seeing how the first film really wanted to tie itself into, of course, the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, for sure. This film actually wanted to take a lot of inspiration from the second game that followed afterwards, for sure, and for a good number of areas they actually throw in there. I really do like what they've actually gone for, hands down, and with some of the parts they've actually showcased, for sure. I really do dig on what it's actually going for. But where I think he actually lacks at, pretty much in other aspects, is that I think it really wanted to really correspond everything that happened to the first film to really try to pretty much continue on where it left off while giving off something new and inventive, for sure, to which in plenty of sequels I've actually seen, that can work, for sure, but from what I'm actually seeing with this film, again, I do like some of the approaches they actually gone for in taking inspiration from the second game, for sure. But I just kind of felt it really doesn't do anything that creative or pretty much go anywhere with what it's actually trying to go for, hands down. So yeah, it's almost like you pretty much have like pretty much a nice vase that really does look nice, but there are several cracks in it after it's been smashed to the ground and someone tries to put it back together the best that they can, but I think you're just left with, of course, a massive mess, for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say for the story, of course, on that front, for sure. Again, I do like what they're actually going for with, of course, this one in some areas, but most of the others I just kind of felt pretty much just kind of derailed the flick all the way that I really don't think really has anything going for hands down, So yeah, and not to mention the writing, I have to say, as another aspect, that too alone, from what I can gather, just really doesn't have a lot going for hands down, for sure. I mean, yeah, there are some parts in it that are written out quite well, for sure, but I really do felt that a few number of areas are just very sloppily written all together, and I think pretty much of anything, pretty much the person writing the script for, of course, this movie is thinking, yeah, I think that can work and be something that fans could really love and admire, when really I think it would just confuse them a whole lot and just really don't have anything to provide anything that engaging, or at least anything that interesting, for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, on that front, for sure. So yeah, I think with the story and the writing for, of course, this movie, yeah, it does have some good ideas on what it's actually going for, and I really do like that they're actually taking inspiration from the second FNAF game, for sure. but most of the other time I just kind of felt it just pretty much, yeah, most of the others just goes nowhere pretty much to begin with, and I think you're just kind of left with, of course, something that pretty much does look good in one area, but looks absolutely messy in another for sure, so yeah. It's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, well. So yeah, now that I've officially pretty much got those two out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the next couple of things I need to talk about for sure. Pretty much next up is, of course, the characters, and of course, on the one hand, I really do love for the fact that for the characters, they're actually, they really have grown a whole lot since the first film, hands down, and actually have some new challenges that they want to tackle upon for sure, to which I really do admire that all the way, and that's something that I really do think worked quite well, and even with a decent amount of development from what I've actually seen, I really do like what they were actually trying to go for. But I think for most of the, pretty much most a few other ones from what I can gather, I really don't think they have a lot going for with, of course, the characters to at least make them likable or even that interesting for sure. So yeah, maybe I think they could have been done a whole lot better than we thought we were gonna get, hands down, but then again, they're not bad per se, but I just wish they could have been done a whole lot more from what I can gather, so yeah, at least that's what I can say, of course, that front. And guys, for the actors who came aboard to play all these characters, well, I guess if there's anything positive that I can say about this movie is that, well, despite the crap material that's actually been given to them, I really do think the acting in this film is actually pretty nicely done for sure. I really do love for the fact that pretty much the actors are giving their all to give off some pretty decent and yeah, pretty good performances, hands down, and yeah, I have to say they're not that bad. From what I can gather, and I really do like on what they've actually done to try to make them work for sure. So yeah, pretty much of anything, I really do think they still did a bang up job in trying their best to work with the material that's actually been given to them, hands down, and of course, one thing I really do love acting-wise is that I really do dig, of course, the bondness between both pretty much Mike and Abby, both of which played once again by Josh Hutcherson, and Piper Rubio, has actually evolved since the first film, hands down, and I really do dig on what they were actually going for, hands down, and honestly, I think if we would have seen more of that, hands down, in this film, I think it could have been a whole lot more stronger, for sure. I mean, yeah, pretty much of anything, it has actually pretty much changed since the first film, hands down, and I do want to see more of that evolve, for sure. So yeah. Pretty much of anything, like I said, both Josh Hutcherson and Piper Rubio still gave it their all as both Mike and Abby for sure, and yeah, I really do like pretty much that in this film, their bondness as a brother and sister has actually evolved since the first film for sure, so yeah. Yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, that's the one thing I can say on that front for sure, so yeah, pretty much of anything, I wish they could have done a whole lot more with the characters for sure, but that doesn't make them bad per se, from what I can say on that front. And of course, the actors, I still think they gave it their all, giving off some pretty decent to pretty good performances, hands down, that I really do think still works fine, of course, on that front for sure, so yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright then, well, now that I've officially got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about for sure? Well, quite a whole lot, actually. In fact, seeing how this is a horror film, hands down, I think it makes sense to move on to, of course, the next two aspects, pretty much combined into one for sure, and that being, of course, the toning atmosphere for sure, so yeah, pretty much from what I can gather in terms of the toning atmosphere for, of course, this movie for sure. Yeah, I think I will have to say, pretty much, I'm really glad parts of it has been carried over, pretty much since the first film, hands down, and I really do dig on what they were actually going for, from what I can gather, and that's something I really do think is actually quite nice. But I think where it actually lacks at, seeing how it is a horror film, is that, well, pretty much of anything, yeah, I think with the amount of pretty much moments where I'm supposed to be scared or frightened by a good number of areas for sure, I think they're actually pretty lacking from what I can gather. I mean, yeah, pretty much if anything, horror movie knowledge, yeah, pretty much if anything, horror movie knowledge 101, pretty much if you want to make a really good horror movie, what's the one component that you have to include in? That's right, some really awesome scares for sure, and yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the first film actually did have some pretty good scares for sure. In fact, if anything, it's actually a clever homage to, of course, the pretty much what's been given in the games for sure, to which, yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, it does make sense on that front, because pretty much in the games, whenever something frightening does come around, you do start to get frightened. And whenever one of the animatronics suddenly pops up and, of course, give a massive jump scare, of course, you would be scared for sure. And I mean, yeah, like I said, the first film actually did have some good scares for sure, to which, okay, yeah, some of them could have been a little bit better than what we expected for sure, but there are some good ones in there, hands down. But hearing, of course, this film, I think the amount of scares from what I can gather just are pretty much not existing, hands down for sure. Like, of course, yeah, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I really do think they're really trying to really capture the look and the feel of the original game for sure, to which I understand that for sure. And of course, in a good number of areas where they actually did want to pretty much be like the game for sure, it does work, hands down, and I do like what it's going for. But if you're left with, of course, pretty much a lack of course, some really good scares that would really get you frightened and scared on the edge of your seat, I think you're left with pretty much you're just left looking at this, going on like, oh wait, am I supposed to be scared by this? Because I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, I think pretty much of anything, I'm sure if you've seen this movie for yourself, I think you're left with, of course, one or two reactions, pretty much, if you actually seen this movie, whenever some parts that are supposed to be scary pops up, like, of course, you'd be mildly confused, and I'd be like, yeah, and you'd be all like, is that really supposed to be scary? Yeah, pretty much that's the first reaction. Well, of course, another reaction, I think you'd be like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Huh? It's supposed to be scary? No, of course not. It's supposed to be funny. I mean, yeah, I think it's actually really quite funny. Huh? It's really supposed to be scary? Well, it's not. It's not. Yeah, I think you can pretty much get the idea, of course, that from, yeah, the amount of scares, of course, of this movie, I think you can easily say, I think, is kind of taking from, of course, pretty much the Stephen King miniseries version of It, for sure. Yeah, yeah, all the scary stuff that happening in this movie is pretty much almost similar to the miniseries version of Stephen King's It. Except that, of course, in the latter that I actually mentioned, they're supposed to be funny and not scary in the slightest for sure, so there's that for an ironic purpose for sure, so yeah, if you're left with, of course, pretty much some moments that are supposed to be scary, but can't actually deliver anything that scary in this film, I think you're kind of pretty much left at pretty much like a horror film that just really doesn't know what to do, and of course being scary, nor even know how to be scary for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. And again, pretty much, yeah, I think that's what I can say for the tongue atmosphere, and even the scares for, of course, this movie for sure. Now, of course, for another positive note, for the production design for, of course, this movie, yeah, like I said, I think pretty much for anything positive that I can say about this movie, I really do think the production design is actually very nicely done, hands down, for sure. So yeah, I will have to say, I really do admire what they were actually going for to make this movie look good for sure. Everything from the really great set pieces to, of course, the location, the locations they scouting for sure. I really do think they really have a lot going for hands out, and I really do love the nice approach that they actually did for sure. And even in a good number of areas, with the amount of SAG pieces they've actually put together, I'm glad they actually really put a lot of hard-working effort into the set pieces, because for the movie to be called Five Nights at Freddy's, for sure, you really do feel like you really are at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, so yeah. Pretty much of anything, I really do love on what they've actually gone for, hands down, for sure, and not to mention the animatronics that they actually worked on for, of course, this film. I will have to say they definitely look amazing by far. I dare even say it's definitely on par with what they did in the first film, for sure, and I really do love the not only the really great pretty much hard-working effort they did to make the animatronics for sure, but I really do love the nice pretty much callbacks and homages they actually did to most of the later games that came afterwards for sure. So yeah. Pretty much of anything, the first film really did a bang-up job with, of course, putting in some really clever Easter eggs that any Five Nights at Freddy's fan can actually find for sure, and I'm glad to see that pretty much this film wanted to do the same thing for sure. So yeah, and not to mention the visuals and the effects pretty much that goes along with it, hands down. I really do think they are actually very nicely done for sure. Basically sticking with, of course, going all practical instead of going for all CGI for sure. That's something I really do think this film actually did pretty much as similar to what was done in the first film, hands down. So yeah, like of course, when I actually see the animatronics in, of course, this movie, I really do feel like they are actually there for sure. So yeah, that's something I really do love and admire all the way, and I'm glad this movie really kept that momentum going like what they did in the first film for sure. And not to mention the direction as another aspect from the film's director, Emma Tammy. Well, I think I'll give her credit that she's not awful per se, hands down. In fact, if anything, I really do think she is actually done. I think she's actually done a pretty decent job to try her best to work around the crap material that's been given to her, hands down, to really try to make this movie work. And yeah, the direction of this film is not bad per se. In fact, I think it's actually done fine from what I can gather, so yeah. And of course, the cinematography in this film, I do think it is actually shot very decently for sure, with of course some camera shots from what I can gather that I do think are fine from what I can gather. I mean, it's not awful per se, but I wish it could have been pretty much shot a whole lot better than what I was expecting for sure, So yeah, and of course the ending, I have to say, pretty much, I do think it's kind of fine from what I can gather. In fact, if anything, I mean, I do like a good number of areas where they actually did pretty much, yeah, with, of course, some cuts that I do think work well, but most of the other time I just kind of felt, pretty much, it is a little disjointing in some areas, and not to mention, I think it hardly, yeah, I think, pretty much, if anything, yeah, I think it even, pretty much, corresponds, with the, film's, pacing, from what I could gather, to which I do kind of felt was way too rushed from what I can gather. Like, of course, it just goes by so fast, like one of those blinking you missed it kind of areas for sure. And yeah, maybe I think they could have done a whole lot more from what I could gather. Like, maybe there are some parts of it that got cut out for sure that they really need to cramming onto the film's runtime for sure. But I don't know. Maybe I think they could have done a whole lot to make the film go a little longer, hands down. So that way we can actually take some time, hands down. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, I think with all those I've actually mentioned, I think that will somehow get you the idea on what I thought of this movie as a whole. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alrighty then, so yeah, I think with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole, So yeah, overall, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I definitely do think, well, I think it's not really as terrible as a lot of critics are saying, nor even can I say it's actually probably by all means awful movie for sure. But I really don't think it's actually that great as what movie-going audiences and even fans of the game are actually saying about it to really make it all the more great. Or even that interesting for sure. To me, I think it's the perfect definition of okay. Yeah, I think that's probably what I can say, of course, that front. You want to see the acting be okay? You want to see pretty much the effects be okay? Do you want to see pretty much everything else be okay? That's what you're going to get. An okay movie for sure. But I guess in regards, comparing to, of course, the first film, hands down, yeah, with, of course, the first film, where I do think it's decent, even though I'm fully aware it's not really a good movie on its own, for sure, but it does have some really good stuff in it that does make it qualify for being a good movie. This film, on the other hand, it is decent for what it is, but I really do think it is definitely a much weaker entry by far, and by all means a very weak sequel all around for sure. So yeah, I was kind of hoping that they'll actually step up their A game, hands down, and actually try their best to work around with, of course, what they're trying to do for sure, and even try to fix up some of the pretty much flaws and issues the first film had, and see if they can actually improve themselves for sure. But most of the weaker stuff that they actually implemented in the first film, kind of implemented in the second film, but not any better, hands down. So yeah, pretty much of anything, I was kind of hoping that it'll actually be fun and inventive for sure, but in all honesty, I think for a while there are some good stuff in it that I really do love and admire for sure. I do felt most of the others, I just kind of fell flat all around for sure. But like I said, I really can't say it's by all means terrible, but I just don't think it's actually that great either for sure. Just a decent enough flick from what I can gather, and yeah. I think you can pretty much, yeah, like the film's pacing by far, where of course it is one of those blinking and missing kind of deals for sure. I think you would instantly forget about it pretty much after you watch it for sure. So yeah, I think it'll be hard to say if I do truly recommend this movie for sure. But I guess if you are pretty much a big pretty much Five Nights at Freddy's fan, and you want to see pretty much something cool and inventive like what was given in the first film, hands down, then I say this is a harmless one to check out for sure. But for me, I think I'm still gonna stick with the first film all the way and just forget about this pretty much this sequel, hands down for sure. And who knows, maybe by the time they do make another Five Nights at Freddy's movie for sure, in fact, I dare even say if they do make a Five Nights at Freddy's 3 for sure, maybe they'll take the note of course, the criticisms of this film and see if they can really try to fix things up a bit, hands down, but that'll be hard to say for the time being, hands down, so yeah. Pretty much of anything, like I said, if that is something you're actually looking into, hands down, then yeah, this film is actually a harmless one to check out. But yeah, like I said, for what it is, for me personally, it's okay for what it is. Not good, not bad, just okay from what I can gather for sure, but I guess for what it is, compared to the first film, probably not worth fixing up those animatronics anytime soon, so yeah, for my final score, yeah, I guess, I know I'm being critical of course this one, but I think you can definitely see why, so I'm gonna give Five Nights at Freddy's 2 a 5 out of 10 as my final score. Like I said, I don't hate this film for what it is, nor can I say it's by all means awful for sure, and there are some good stuff in it that I really do love and admire, but I just kind of wish it could have been done a whole lot better, that could have given us a much stronger sequel all the way for sure, and yeah, for what it is, I really do think it is probably much weaker compared to the first film, hands down, and yeah, I think you would instantly forget about it after you watch it for sure, or at least if they do make another one of these and see if they can do some stuff that are much better or worse, hands down, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front, so yeah, it's not by all means awful, but not that great, either, for sure. But yeah, I think it is certainly one animatronic from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that I will not be fixing up anytime soon, for sure, so yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole, so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, I want to ask all of you guys now, what do you think of Five Nights at Freddy's 2? If you've actually seen it for yourself, do you absolutely really enjoy it and think it's actually as great as the first film, or do you absolutely hate it and think it's actually much worse, hands down? Or are you like me and you're somewhere in between, where it's not really that good, but not that bad either, but could have been a whole lot better, hands down, so yeah, let me know down in the comments down below on what you guys think of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 if you've actually seen it. I would love to know what you guys think, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, I guess that's one movie for this month down, and we've got 3 more to go for sure, so yeah. I know Christmas hasn't even come yet for sure, but I'll be quite curious to see what other, the 3 remaining movies will actually give us for sure. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, and you know what? I almost forgot one thing, yeah, even though I pretty much had my reaction to, of course, this film, I guess the other thing I can say is that, well, I did get to take home this nice poster of course, this movie for sure, so at least this is gonna go great with all the other movie posters I actually got. But I digress, so and well, I think it's time for you to actually get back on the shelf for sure, so yeah, I know I'm gonna anger a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's fans for sure, so I mean, hey, I've dealt with worse, hands down, so yeah, I guess until my next thoughts video comes around, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427TV to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427'The Productions for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyattackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.